All right, so let's keep it. But we just want to show that play because that was I really would just about say, other than the interceptions that Jay Love threw, that's one of the more important plays of that entire game. There was that because if you stop them on that 3rd and 14, man, that's a whole different ball game, right? All right, let's see here. Let's go on to this is the 3rd and 8 play. It falls incomplete. Let's see what they're asking Kenny to do here. All right, let's go end zone if we can. All right, where's Kenny? Another overload. They ran a lot more overload than I remember seeing. That's wild. Pretty sure this is Kenny right here. I think he is in the game. Let's make sure. Yes, he is. All right, Kenny is in on this play. Let's take it back for y'all. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure. So here we go, 3rd and 8. Actually, it reset. Darn it. Where's that? No, yeah, we're good. 3rd and 8. Okay, yeah, there you go. 3rd and 8. And this is an incomplete pass left to Powell. All right, so Kenny right here is playing a 2-eye tech. He's on the inside shoulder of the guard, okay? On the overload side, for those of you on the pod, that means you got 3 pass rushers on one side, 1 on the other. They moved Gary around. They actually put Gary on the right side of this play. All right, let's key in on Kenny and see what his assignment is. Ball snap, double team. TT stunt. What's he doing here? He engages with both the center and the guard, and he fans left and allows Wyatt to come through, right? That was the play there. Now, what happened on this stunt? Remember last year we were talking about Wyatt he's a wrecking ball, man. He can rush the quarterback, but you see him get into other people's rush lanes. On this stunt right here, one of 2 things have happened, okay? He gets way too far out wide, and he actually comes over and smacks Gary. Now, who's getting pressure on the quarterback? It's actually Preston Smith. So as he comes in, he beats a chip and then beats his guy and gets pressure in the face. But again, when you look at Gary's assignment, Gary's in a wide 9, and why do they have him engage and then fan to the inside? Right? Everybody's got their own rush lane. That was his rush lane. One of these 2 players made a mistake here, right? I feel like Wyatt got way too wide. Usually TTs, the way they're ran is Kenny engages. You got to stay narrow here because you know Gary's working the inside rush there as well. And you can see some of the coverage is kind of rolled to the right here to that side. They want him to throw to that side. Pressure from the backside, throw to his left is what they were going for. One of the keys to our game plan last week, too. Just noticed that. So, again, you got guys just running into each other. But Kenny, we're criticizing Kenny, and what was this? It was a TT stunt where he sacrificed himself once again, right? So, there you go. Somebody said it looked like that might have been later. I'm sorry. I thought somebody said, yeah, looks like Brooks got pushed into Kenny on his loop around. I don't think that was Brooks. You've got Preston Smith, you got Wyatt, you got Kenny. Kenny's running the TT. You see he's sacrificing himself. Wyatt's going to loop around. He should be a lot skinnier than this and take on that single block. Now you've generated multiple single blocks. You got Preston Smith on the other side. So that's what happened. You're probably talking about the play earlier if you're on a delay. I bet you were. I apologize. So, again, Kenny Clark taking on a double team and a TT stunt. Let's see what else we got down here. If there's any others we want to hit on Vikings-wise. Let's see. Here's Sam Darnold to Jordan Addison for 25 yards. This is a 3rd and 10 play. This can't happen. And once again, Eric Stokes in coverage sucks. But let's go to the box cam. Let's look at the pass rush. Here we're mugging, right? And again, this is a 25-yard gain. Jordan Addison. Is this the one we got the penalty on too? Am I thinking right? What quarter is this? This is first quarter, huh? All right, let's see. First quarter, 3rd and 10, blah, blah, blah. Minnesota touchdown, Addison, jet sweep. Nope. Here it is. Yeah, 29-yarder. It's the second play on Chalk Talk. Is it a 29? No, 25-yarder. I wrote it down wrong here. So at Green Bay's 29, at their own 29. Now, this is a different play. Never mind. They got everything all out of whack to a certain extent. All right. Nonetheless, this is 3rd and 10, and this is a 25-yard gain to Jordan Addison. I was trying to find out my notes, but I don't want to give you guys too much dead air here. So we're mugging the A. It's called double A gap mug. It's called double barrel. What that means is you got both linebackers mugging the A gap. The goal here is, whether you're blitzing or not, is to occupy those interior offensive linemen to create one-on-one matchups on the edge. And again, it's a 3rd and 10 play. You got to hit home here, right? You got Rashawn Gary, wide 9. I'm not sure which lineman this is. Okay, here's Kenny. Kenny is playing a straight-up 4 tech over here. All right. You got wide on the other side playing a 4-tech, maybe a 4-eye, and you got wide 9 opposite that, Preston Smith. Obviously, you got Edgerrin Cooper and Quay mugging the A-gap. You see they're changing the protection. They seen something. They shifted that back to the left. Let's watch Kenny, see what he does on this 3rd and 10 play. Ball snapped, double team. TE stunt. So what you got with the TE is Kenny's going to engage with the guard and the tackle, and Gary is going to loop inside for the TE stunt. Right? Gary gets too far out right here. So you kind of want on these TE stunts to take that inside shoulder maybe. I guess they are kind of using leverage too, the momentum of the offensive line, fanning from one side to the other. But he tries to do like a swat and swim, almost clears, doesn't matter. Look how quick the ball gets out. I'm eager to see what's the time to throw here. Y'all help me here. I'm going to pause it when the ball's snapped because it feels like the ball just came out really quick. This may not even be on the pass rush. All right, ball snapped, right, at 10 seconds. 1,000, 3. No, it's well over 3. You got to hit home. Well over 3 seconds. And again, Stokes on coverage for the completion. So to sum that up, on that specific play, Kenny is taking on another double team in the TE stunt. Gary can't hit home. The center picks him up, right? And then on the other side, what did they? They muddied up the water with some stunts too, didn't they? Let's watch Wyatt and Preston Smith. Yep, TE stunt. God, they keep hitting each other on these TEs and TT stunts. That's the biggest issue I'm noticing with pass rush. So, yeah. Again, that was a huge play, too much time. When you go to these top of pass rushes, think about this. It was double A-gap mug, and they dropped both backers out, didn't they? Am I thinking right? Or did they blitz? Yeah, they dropped them both out, which I'm cool with the play call. Imagine if you just did a straight rush instead of stunts here. Probably going to get after the quarterback quicker. So maybe the answer to the equation or the question is less stunts. Teams are looking for it. Vikings picked it up really, really well. There's no doubt about it, man. Yeah, Adam Block with the question. Andy Herman mentioned Stokes is not a starting corner. Do you agree? I hate to be negative, Adam, but yes, I completely agree. We talked about it the last 2 years. And I know he got hurt last year, and I got raked over the coals because I mentioned before he got hurt, he was grading out in the 50s. You can see it all over the tape. He can't find the ball. He's supposed to be a man cover corner. He's not good at covering man. It's a miss. It's another first round miss by Goot. It is what it is. Hurts me to say it. I'm a big Goot fan, but it's another miss, man. No two ways about it. So earlier in the year, you had a little more confidence in Stokes because he showed a game or two where he's playing well, and then we were all like, "Whoa, Carrington Valentine was on pace to get more snaps than Stokes." I think we're seeing why now, right? They got way more footage in practice than we have here. I guarantee you that. So this isn't news to them. It's obvious that's what they were doing, you know. So let's see what Brambo says. They're not attacking the linemen, and the stunts are not even a problem passing off. Amen, Brambo. That's where the true issue lies. The issues aren't Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary have forgot how to rush the quarterback. The issues is you're using too much, you're wasting too much horizontal energy in what should be a vertical attack. That makes sense. So that's what I'm seeing on tape. There we go. Professor Cakes. Jair and Carrington are number 1 and number 2 corners on this team, in my opinion. And listen, you guys know I'm a Kentucky fan. I'm always going to say it. I'm not hating on Carrington. That's not a good thing that Carrington Valentine is one of your starting corners. It's not. It's just not. I think he's above average. He's better than Stokes. I think we're getting to that point where I know at least I'm coming to the realization. Maybe you guys have been there a lot longer. I'm slow to the party, but it does feel like he's a better corner than Stokes. I still just don't know if that's the answer there. And you guys know I talked a lot about tier of importance when it comes to positions. Like corner is not at the top of the list for me. You got to get pressure on the quarterback and you got to stop the run. You do that with a 3-tech and a 9-tech, and you have those guys work in unison together. But right now, this is what we're talking about. It doesn't have to be a scrambling quarterback for you to step back and go, the scheme is a reason that we're not as aggressive up front. When we say aggressive up front, we're talking about splitting one gap and going, right? Let's just go. It's supposed to be a fast pace, one gap. That's not what they're doing. They're running a whole bunch of stunts. So now when you turn them loose on one gaps, there are negatives to that aspect. In this situation right here, though, man, I mean, it's a 3rd and 10 play. I'm not overly concerned with Darnold. I love the coverage. I have no problem with the coverage other than, our boy gets beat like a drum. But then again, let's go to the sideline cam on this. I didn't have this planned, but let's see what the coverage is on this play. I should have it broke down. I know it's here somewhere. I don't have the coverage listed. It would be on Chalk Talk. So let's see if we can recognize it. Again, they're going to run kind of a slant underneath with the number 1 up here. Let's see what Stokes does here. They went to a bunch set and nobody followed. To me, this looks like it's zone on the surface. Obviously, the backers are dropping out, so it's some kind of zone. Maybe a cover 6, ball snapped. All right, so it's Tampa 2. You see Quay flip his hips. And with Tampa 2, what you do is, and I like Tampa 2. I think it's a good defense. There's a lot of mistakes to be made in Tampa 2. So he's got the 3 read here. If that 3 goes vert, he's got the seam. There it goes, right? And what that does is clear out this mid-level here. So you're in Tampa 2. Boys, I hate to say it, but that's just a good play call. You could say it's a bad play call on Hafley's part, but, I mean, seriously, to me it looks like they probably had a choice route involved. Let me explain what I'm trying to say here. Stokes's job here is to cover short curl, kind of play these sticks on the outside. His job is not inside here, okay? Quay's covering the seam, right? So what's this guy's job, right? He bites underneath around the sticks. Yeah, the problem here is there's just too much time to throw in the pocket. That's the real issue, right? The only way you can combat that is 2-man under with inside trail technique, or you could go with a true cover 2 where you've got an extra body there. Instead of Quay going down the seam, Quay would sit right here, right in this area, and look for work. And I don't know if he even makes that play because it is kind of out of his zone, although this defender knows it's almost like a match principle that he knows Quay has got to follow the 3 down the seam. So he needs to kind of play a little matchy here and take that number 2 underneath. So that's a tough look there. All right. So, again, just wanted to hit on some of those from Kenny because I know what a lot of the conversation's been around him. Let's see. I had another one keyed up. Remember, let's go back to the graph here. Let me drop this comment down real quick. If we go back to the chart, rather, TJ Slaton and Devontae Wyatt, right? They're the next best players, are actually the top 2 defensive linemen. So let's start with Devontae Wyatt, and we got a few of his snaps. I think I went 3rd down on him. Actually, there's no reason to. There's no reason to hit on Devontae Wyatt at the moment. Let's go TJ Slaton. We just got 2 snaps on 3rd down, right? Actually, no, we broke it down a little bit further, I believe. Yeah, we got a few more snaps. So these are passing situations for our boy TJ Slaton because, again, the chart's kind of showing that TJ Slaton's playing better than Kenny. Now, we showed you all the double teams, right? So here's the play to A.J. Brown for 67 yards. Yeah, this was the cover 1 man that Ja gets cooked by A.J. Here's TJ. He's going to be playing a 2-eye tech, so he's kind of playing closer to nose than Kenny. He occupies the double team. Kenny singled up. Kenny gets just absolutely dipped. That's on Kenny there, man. That's a bad rep, real bad rep right there. And you see TJ's holding up at the point of attack. I wonder if when TJ Slaton's in the game, I wonder if Kenny gets more single blocks. Right here you see TJ again, okay? TJ over here playing a 2-eye tech, maybe a straight up 2. Let's see if he gets double or Kenny gets double, or both. Kenny gets doubled. TJ does not win his rep. Not a great rep there. All right, let's move it along. Here's the Colts game. This is a 2nd and 7 play. This is Anthony Richardson gets, looks like a fumble, -5 yards is what it's saying. Let's see if we can identify where TJ Slaton's at. TJ Slaton playing nose. He's in a 1 tech right here. Possibly a 2. I'd call it a 1. What's he doing? Just a single rush, but kind of outside. That looked to me like that was kind of a contained rush. TJ Slaton kind of getting out here and getting eyes on the quarterback and making sure he doesn't scramble type thing. Now, who gets to the quarterback here? Let's watch it again. Ball snap, single block. Okay, he just bobbled the snap. So, yeah. All right, that's what it was. Got it. That makes sense now. So, again, there, TJ, you're seeing in a one tech. So, he's definitely playing nose when he's on the field. There's no two ways about that. Here is a 4th and 4 play where TJ's on the field. Take a quick look at where he's lining up. Looks like this is him right here. So, again, here he's in a 3 tech. Let's see if he gets doubled. Outside rush. Ball dropped. All right, got it. Just trying to get a grab real quick at TJ Slaton because he did pop up on that chart. All right, TJ here looks like a 1 tech. I think that's him in the 1 tech. Yeah, him and Carl Brooks. Man, he really pushed the pocket there. That's a good rep, right? Pretty sure that was him. Yeah, look at TJ. Big rear end, my man. 2 tech. Going to take on a double team. Watch him push the pocket. Actually, it was a single block. Okay, they pulled. Yeah, he ended up getting double. A little crack there. But pressure on the quarterback. I don't know if it was considered a pressure, but you've seen he really disrupted the pass. And he was the closest one to the quarterback, I should say. So TJ not looking too bad, man. Not looking too bad. Let's see if there's anything else. These are 1st and 10 plays. You've seen a lot of first down snaps for TJ for sure. Look, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 4th and 4. 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7. So you don't see him on 3rd down hardly at all. And that might be another reason why this looks so good with the chart. If he's playing in 1st down and he's pass rush win rate, that could have something to do with it. And Kenny is really getting double teamed a lot and running a lot of those TT stunts more on 3rd down. He's on the field every down for the most part. I know he's not getting all the snaps, don't get me wrong, but just interesting to kind of take a look at that. But the way it sits right now, pass rush win rate, based off what we looked at on tape here, if we hadn't showed you this chart where Kenny is the quote-unquote worst defensive tackle of these defensive tackles we have on our team in Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slaton, Kenny Clark, would you think that Kenny is the worst? Because I don't come away feeling like that. I come away feeling like, man, they're using him a lot on these TTs, and he is sacrificing himself like LaFleur was talking about. Again, that was over a 3 to 4 game saturation. We watched those snaps. So it wasn't just like one game plan. It's obvious that's what they're doing with him. So it kind of feels like the problem should be with the scheme rather than Kenny. That's how I'm seeing it right now. What do you guys think in the chat? Let me know. After watching that tape there, we took a quick look at it. How do you feel about Kenny Clark in this pass rush? Like, do you see what I'm saying with the TT stunts, or am I just being too gracious towards Kenny in this situation here? How do y'all feel about it in the chat? Let me know. Make a little note here. If there's anything else y'all want to talk about here on this Saturday morning, we're just a little over 24 hours away from kickoff, man. I'm excited for this game against the Rams. I think it could be a get-right game, but it could also be a trap game. There's no two ways about that. So we gotta keep that in check, take that into consideration, and make sure that you don't walk into a buzzsaw out there. That would absolutely suck, right? I see what Prince said. Judging by what they did roster-wise with Ford and low snap count, I don't think Slaton is in their plans past this year. Only guy on the roster I think they would shop for a pick at the trade deadline. So you kind of think they might be getting rid of TJ Slaton. Okay, got it. I'm not saying I agree with you, but got that out there. Greg Rice, who are the wide receivers that spent time with Love working out? It's Romeo Doubs, right? Romeo Doubs and Love have been working out together since before Doubs was in the league. To my understanding, Dobbs' personal coach that he was working with actually was Jordan Love's personal coach. So they got a lot of workout time even before Dobbs was drafted to the Packers. I'm glad you bring that up because I don't think there's trouble there between Love and Dobbs. I don't think it's that. I think it's more from just the game plan itself. And again, I'm not saying it's the case, but a whole lot of boundary X run and go routes the last couple of years. It might have something to do with it, man. Might have something to do with it. Nick McSwain in the chat said, is it better to run in 11 or 12 personnel? 11 brings out a lighter defense, right? That's correct. I personally like running out of 11 than 12. That's just me, Nick. One of the things that I was really hesitant on embracing in Matt LaFleur's offense when we hired him was, man, I don't like you muddying up those running lanes with 12 personnel. And, and the reason being is you got tighter splits, you got tighter sets with the tight ends being attached, whether it's a balanced look or a tray look. But also you play with nasty splits. And like you said, you're triggering a heavier defense. But, man, we had some success running the football out of those sets. So I had to go zip it. LaFleur knows way more than me, and it's working. But me personally, I like 11, and I like wider splits. Again, that's why I was kind of hesitant on Matt LaFleur's offense. The passing concepts he used, we talk about dagger, we talk about slot cross, we talk about wolf, cab, all those things that LaFleur likes to run, wrap. Really love the passing concepts. I would just like them more if you were spreading the defense out more. But, man, the reality is they're cooking. We got a top 10 offense, right? It's not the offense, other than the turnovers, the offense isn't the problem, right? The problem is hitting on with the pass rush and turning the ball over. You're getting turnovers. Obviously, we're leading the league in turnovers still, I believe. But, but when you look at explosives, Packers are leading the league in explosive plays. And let's see, let me drop this down. Again, to answer your question, Nick, I think 11, me personally, but Matt LaFleur seems to lean towards 12 to run out of, if I remember correctly. So when it comes to explosive running plays, you can't argue with it and what he's doing. Baltimore is leading the league with 25 explosives. That's running plays with 10 yards or more, okay? Packers are second with 21. Overall, they still lead the league in explosive plays with 38. San Francisco with 34. Baltimore Ravens with 33. Indianapolis Colts with 32, which is wild to think about because the Colts are fourth in the league in explosive plays, and we held them to 10 points, right? This defense isn't horrible. It's not like, oh, we're doomed. Just got to get a couple of these things cleaned up, That's what it's going to come down to. So, Greg Rice, ouch. That's a bitter pill for him then talking about Dobby. I agree, because you spent all this time working out with him, and now all of a sudden you're getting – it sounds like, and again, speculation, he might be getting passed up on the depth chart by Dontavion Wicks. Who knows? Maybe Bo Melton too. They're like, hey, look, we want to utilize Bo a little bit more this week. That could have been the case, right? Let's see what Omer says here. Why target Wicks over Dobbs? He's got a point for sure, and this week's game plan probably not feature him in his homecoming, which likely push him over the edge is my bet. That's a good point too. Going back to Cali. Some of y'all got that. It's kind of like Jair again, right? Jair wanted to be a captain because they were going home to North Carolina playing the Panthers. Maybe that kind of got Dobbs upset. Like, man, I'm not going to be as much a focal point, and I'm going home to L.A. Could be. Sounds silly, but I hope it's that rather than a mental health issue, to be honest with you. Just because, first and foremost, the person, not the player. The person is more important, right? All right, let's see. Greg Rice says, I really want to see 22 personnel when everyone's healthy. Man, that's very, very rare in the league for sure. Omer says, Tucker Kraft likely big game this week. Don't think Musgrave is going to play. Jacobs, Kraft, Reed, Love, week 5, throwing out some numbers. Jacobs for 100, Kraft for 100. Dang, Reed for 100, Love with 300. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I do think that our boy Tucker Kraft will be a big part of the game plan. I was breaking down some of the tendencies and looking at those yesterday, and I might be able to get them up here for you guys real quick, and let's talk about that when we go tendencies across the league. Might be a little bit tricky getting this to set up properly. Give me just a second. This is usually when I tell the guys to say something smart, right? So here's the offensive tendency chart. So if Tucker Kraft is to get involved, right, let's just look at, since you threw out some numbers there, Omer, let's look at some defensive tendencies, okay? And let's go EPA, just overview, right? And let's filter it down here and go, let's see, how do we go? Pretty sure we could go team, right? Maybe we can't on this, just overview. Refinement, no. Season, no. There was a chart or a place where you could do the team, and now I'm not seeing it. Let's go personnel tendency on defense. Here we go. Bang. Let's go LA Rams. All right, give me just a second. Okay, here we go. So let's go EPA. EPA per pass. All right. And they don't have an EPA. This is what we were talking about just now for whoever said 22. It's so rare. You don't even have enough data to come up with statistics for 22 and 23. So this is if I'm understanding this correctly, the LA Rams defense, okay, and this is their EPA per pass against specific personnel. All right. Obviously, the lower the number, the better. All right. So with that being said, they are only allowing 0.28 EPA per pass when facing 11 personnel. They're allowing 0.3 EPA per pass when facing 21 personnel, which we don't run a whole lot of. And they're allowing 0.54 EPA per pass against 12 personnel. So their weakest defense against the pass from a schematic standpoint would suggest 12 personnel. Now, the problem is Musgrave's hurt, right? So do you trust Ben Sims enough to play more 12 personnel this year, right? So, again, that's expected points added against the pass, if I'm understanding correctly. So that's interesting. That's an interesting kind of viewpoint there. If we go formation tendency real quick, and let's just go Rams, LA Rams formation tendency. Let's see what we come up with here in EPA and all that stuff. Okay, so formationally, most people you hear us say formation, we'll say dubs, we'll say trips, we'll say tray, right? What they do it is they do it by a number by a number. When you hear me say dubs, that's really a 2x2 set. When you hear me say tray, that's a 3x1 set, and the 3 side having the tight end. When you hear me say nub, that means tight end is the only one on one side. That's a 1x3 or a 3x1 set. And all 3 targets on that side of the field is actually wide receivers. So let's go to EPA rank. All right. Dead last in 3x1 sets. So when you go trips or tray left, they're last in EPA ranking is what it's suggesting here. Okay. And it can get a little tricky because I'm pretty sure, EPA lower the number. That's interesting. We may have it backwards there. I'd have to get clarification on whether or not the EPA is actually flipped to the defensive side or if you're talking about the EPA allowed type thing. But when you do go tendency, though, you can kind of get an idea of rate rank or rate percentage, I should say. The Rams have faced more 2x2 sets than any other formation in the league. 2x2, 33% of the time they're facing 2x2 sets. So that's what offensive coordinators are seeing on tape that they want to attack with. Then it's a trips or tray left. Then it's a 1x2. So that's kind of your, like we talked about, your 12 sets, your 21 sets, but you got 2 targets to one side as opposed to the other side being 1. And then you got a 1x3 at 13.1%. So that would suggest 2x2, 12 personnel, I believe. It's kind of how I'm looking at that. Hopefully that makes sense. But there you go. Just want to look at a few tendencies there. So he could have a big game, Omer. I know that secondary is pretty beat up, right? And when I say beat up, not necessarily from an injury standpoint, it's more so from they're young, inexperienced. They're just not that talented, but you can't overlook them. There's no two ways about that. You get caught peeking, you're going to get burned, no doubt. So let's see what else we got here in the chat real quick. Brambo says Ben Sims going to feast. When we seen Ben Sims last year, man, I'll tell you, Ben Sims last year impressed me. It was limited snaps, but the dude did everything you asked him to do. I think he got a touchdown pass. Was it the last year or the year before? I can't remember how many years he's been on the roster, but it never seems like the situation's too big for him. And it's very rare that you catch him like out of place, like, oh man, he blew that assignment, he blew that blocking assignment. He seems to have a pretty good grab of the playbook. And he's obviously one of those high RAS guys, if I remember correctly, right? So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. Maybe they see what we're talking about here with Kraft and put a little bit extra focus on him. You come out in 12 2x2 sets and attack with Sims, you might have some opportunities there for sure. Yeah. So there you go with that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else we need to hit on? We kind of touched on a little bit of this the other day, but let's hit it again real quick. We talked about explosives. Let's talk about the coverages that the Rams are running the most. So the Rams are running cover 3 zone large majority of the time, 39% of their defensive snaps. And look at their EPA per drop back here is 0.31 is how much they're allowing. All right, 0.31. And let's see if that actually matched up over there. let's see here. Give me just a second, guys. I want to see here. So 30th, yeah. So that is EPA allowed on that other side. I'm pretty sure that's matching up there. So cover 3 zone is what they run the majority of the time, 39% of the snaps. Then second most it's tied is cover 6, which is half cover 2, half cover 4, right? And then tied with that is 18% cover 1 man. All right. So they're in a middle field close a lot. I mean, they're in middle field close 50% of the time, over 50% of the time, middle field close. Let's see what that is. 57% of the time they're middle field closed. Actually, probably 59% when you include that cover 0, which is typically box loaded. There's nobody deep. So, yeah. And then when it comes to man coverage, actually they run cover 2 zone 10% of the time. So cover 3, the way you attack cover 3 is, like when you're attacking cover 2, you're attacking the seam and the hole. So you're looking for bunker and base, meaning seam, and then 10 to 15 yards along the sideline. When you're attacking cover 3, you want to run a lot, press into running, and you want to run a lot of like flood concepts and spacing concepts, because really the way that you beat a heavy zone defense is you are flooding that zone with multiple routes, right? So I could see that mid-level, that midline, if you will, maybe a little dagger with some slot cross. I could see that dig either hitting the big play if they get too matchy on the outside with the corners, especially on like a vert route or a post off the opposite side of the slot cross. Might have some big plays for Jaden Reed in the slot, running it that way. And then, of course, if they do cover that up and they're not playing matchy, then you got that dig underneath. And who knows, you might take a shot or two to Bo Melton deep. That could be the case too. But that's what they're running there. Now, coverages that they've seen, so their defense has seen the most of these coverages. The Rams are definitely in the bottom half as far as EPA per dropback allowed. They're at 0.03, positive 0.03, which is a negative thing, like we say. Let's see, offensive coverage is seen. So I'm sorry, this is them on offense. I apologize. Their EPA per dropback is 0.03. The coverages they've seen the most is cover 3, 33% of the time, cover 1, 21% of the time, okay? And then it's cover 4, 18% of the time. So we might see, if they notice that on the game plan, I hope this isn't the case, but Jeff Hafley might press into some cover 1 man this week. You guys know how I feel about that. I would much rather them sit in cover 3 and maybe play a little match out of it and make these receivers beat your corners. Now, listen, we don't have the best corners in the league if Ja doesn't play. Hopefully Ja does play, right? That makes a world of difference. But that worries me a little bit. Don't feel like you have to run cover 1 man just because they faced it 26% of the time and they've struggled with it. Because Sean McVay is one of the best play callers in the game. Obviously, he was the youngest coach to win a Super Bowl, youngest coach to make it to 2 Super Bowls. You guys know how I feel about him. I'm not one of these people that thinks he's overrated for sure. That's just not me. Looking at the injury report again, just a quick refresher as we get set for tomorrow. Out is Devontae Wyatt. He's the only one listed as out. Doubtful is Romeo Doubs for the reasons we've talked about, and Christian Watson because of the ankle injury. So that's really the only thing you're concerned with there as far as like doubtful. Now you've got questionable, a ton of those. Jair Alexander is still questionable. I'm telling you, the practice footage I've seen, I'd be very surprised if Jair Alexander doesn't play this week. That's just me. I could be wrong, but Edgerrin Cooper, that's kind of a toss-up. I wouldn't mind. This might be the week we see a little Tyron Hopper if Coop can't go. You know, who knows? You may go with a little bit of that rotation, and I don't mean he's going to start over Eric Wilson or McDuffie in the base. That's not what I'm saying at all. But they do have that rotation that you've seen sometimes. These guys like Eric Wilson will get thrown into the rotation a little bit. It's almost like he's been surpassed now by Edgerrin Cooper. If Edgerrin Cooper don't play, Eric Wilson probably will get the bulk of those snaps, I would imagine. And they'll bend it around to fit everybody's strength. It doesn't necessarily mean Eric Wilson is replacing Edgerrin Cooper in that base 4-3, but just something to keep an eye on there for sure. But yeah, questionable there was Edgerrin Cooper. Again, Elton Jenkins questionable. I think he'll be good to go. Jonathan Ford questionable with the calf. Jordan Morgan questionable. You guys know how I feel. Let Sean Ryan start. He's kind of hitting his stride. Let's hope that continues. Musgrave, I would be surprised if he plays. I think he'll be out. Carrington Valentine questionable. He's limited all week. Let's hope he can play. But not if he's not 100%. If he's not 100%, that doesn't help us. That means he's just as bad as Eric Stokes. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. But it is what it is. So that being said, we're out of here, guys. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. And now we're good. Okay. So appreciate everybody hanging out. We'll be back again tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, most likely. I'll get the link up. You guys just keep your ear to the YouTube channel. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would, hit that like button for us. It helps more than you know. I've not been mentioning it here lately because it just feels awkward. I don't want to self-promote. I don't want to be like, hey, guys, go like my channel, go sub. But, man, when we don't mention it, I think some people just forget, and I do too. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I forget to hit the like button. It does help. So if you want to support the channel in any way, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. So appreciate everybody. We'll see you later on tonight, most likely, and we'll break down some more Packers-Rams. Hopefully we got a little bit better idea about Kenny Clark. That was the goal today, was just try to dive in and understand, all right, what's exactly happening. Guys, we showed you a 4-game saturation of passing plays, and Kenny has been sacrificing himself a whole lot. So let's be a little more patient. And if anything, it should make you question some of the analytics. It really should, because based off the footage we just seen, there should be minimal one-on-one snaps. And if there's a crap ton of snaps that's included there, saying he's not being double teamed, the tape kind of suggests otherwise. So just keep that in mind and put everything into perspective, right? Those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go Pack Go.